Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. I am going to be talking with you a bit more about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so that's the first topic I'm going to delve into, and then a bit later on in the video I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Paul Pogba, because there is huge developments on Paul Pogba. I have been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Paul Pogba on a regular basis. Then in a bit later on then in the video, I am going to be, talking with you, about, the Premier League, when they want the season to end and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll delve into that topic a bit later on. So let's start with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I think, what's saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job. Now, there's a couple of things that I think have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Manchester United. And I think, one of the things, was the signing of Bruno Fernandez. Of course, we signed Bruno Fernandez from Sporting Lisbon for around £65 million with add-ons included. So Bruno Fernandes, is one of our most expensive signings. He is in that list. And of course, he has got a 5.5-year deal at the football club. Now, like I mentioned, Bruno Fernandez has made a difference in the team. I think he's got like 3 goals and 4 assists so far for the football club. But, he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Don't forget, reflecting on his good run of performances, he won Premier League Player of the Month for February. But definitely Bruno Fernandes is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. And I've got to make an admission, like I've said before, he is the best player, or one of the best players we have recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era, including, who we've recruited in under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But yeah, he's been making a difference in the team as Bruno Fernandes. I know Bruno Fernandes isn't enough for us, to challenge for the league next season. Of course, we're very, very convinced that we do need more signings. But, he is a very, very good player, is Bruno Fernandes. And I thought, Fernandes enjoyed a good 2.5 years with Sporting Lisbon. He did really, really well with them. And I did say, he would have been Premier League standard and he would have come and succeed in the Premier League. And, he's done really, really well so far. So I've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for recommending him in. Bruno Fernandes, did say quite a few weeks ago, what convinced him to sign for Manchester United, and he was reflecting on the attitude of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Bruno Fernandes has got a lot of faith in Solskjaer. All we need to do with Bruno Fernandes is keep him in his predominant position, and we will continue getting the best out of him, because obviously, when he made his debut in the 0-0 draw against Wolves earlier on in the season, obviously, we rotated him, we put him in a different position and that, and he didn't look as effective and stuff like that. So all we need to do is keep him in his predominant position. Because if you were to put Bruno Fernandes as a central midfielder or a holding midfielder, that's when he could become a liability. But I'm really, really glad, we did get him on the board. It was a shame that we didn't get him early, In reality, we really should have got Bruno Fernandes, before the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool. We should have got him then, because he should have been spectating at Anfield. We should have arguably got him last summer, but the main explanation why we didn't get him last summer is because we wasn't willing to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation for the player. But yeah, so you can say he saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Man United, but we need someone to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And don't get me wrong, I think Paul Pogba would go very, very well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. So I think a lot of United fans are excited about the prospects of Pogba playing alongside Fernandes in our midfield, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, so he's definitely made the difference in the team. And I think another thing, that saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job was the 6-0 win against Tranmere in the FA Cup earlier on in the season. And I think that was our biggest away win since we beat Nottingham Forest 8-1, was it, back in 1999, if I can remember rightly, which is over 20 years ago now. Because obviously, there was reports emerging out, before that game against Tranmere saying, if we fail to beat Tranmere, then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is likely to be sacked as Manchester United manager. Solskjaer, was close to getting sacked earlier on in the season. Solskjaer knows how much pressure, he has been under throughout the course of this season. We have enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season for around 30 years. Obviously, I think you can say another thing that saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job as well is, reflecting on the results this season, you know, we've had against elite opposition, because I think Solskjaer's approach to the big games this season's been absolutely fantastic. I think we've registered like 17 points against the big six sides this season. Obviously, we've beaten Manchester City, is it 3 times this season? Solskjaer's made history in that aspect because, you know, he's become the first manager to beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season. He's also overcome Frank Lampard 3 times. I think he's beaten Chelsea 4 times as a manager since he came in. Our record's been absolutely fantastic against Chelsea since Solskjaer's come in. I don't think we've lost to Chelsea since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in. Obviously, you know, we drew with Liverpool earlier on in the season. So, yeah, we've done very, very well against elite opposition. We haven't been so good against lower opposition, you know, so that's an element of concern. I still don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows his best formation as yet. That's something he does need to address on a regular basis this season. Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. From my own perception, that doesn't really seem to suit our standards. You know, like I've said numerous times, I think we look more expansive with the 3-5-2 formation. He's gone with 3 at the back a lot, you know, like I mentioned against the big six side, he's gone with the 3-5-2 formation. Obviously, I think a lot when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period, he went with a 4-3-3 formation. So there's a few things, you know, that have saved his job at the football club. You can also put into the equation as well, with Solskjaer, you know, being a club legend, you know, that could have also, you know, saved his job at Manchester United, because, you know, with him being a club legend, we've probably softened our stance on him. If he hadn't have been a club legend, then you could arguably say Solskjaer would have been sacked as Manchester United manager by now. Solskjaer's also, you know, beaten Mourinho once, because I think he's beaten Tottenham twice as a manager as well as Solskjaer. So we've had some decent results under Solskjaer. I think one of the worst results we endured was the 4-0 defeat to Everton last April, which was last year. I credited Solskjaer because he came out after that game and he publicly made an apology, you know, which was very, very good of him. We had that 2-0 defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. But since Solskjaer's got the job permanently anyway, his record has been disastrous. Obviously, you know, we'll give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job permanently, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Because what he did in that 3-month period, you know, he won his first 8 games. He only lost one of his first 17 in all competitions. And I think he won 14 out of 19 in total. And obviously, you know, that was enough to give him the job on a permanent basis. His last game as the interim manager was the 3-1 win against PSG. And I think that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a manager. You know, obviously, it gave him a glimpse of 1999. That's obviously, you know, with Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a player was 1999 when he won as a treble. And that's obviously, you know, the club's greatest achievement, you know, was a treble back in 1999, which is over 20 years ago now. Obviously, you know, we beat Cardiff 5-1. That was Solskjaer's first game as Manchester United manager. So we've had a few big wins under Solskjaer. You know, we had the 5-0 win against Lask before the season had to, you know, get suspended. We had the 5-0 win against Club Brugge in the previous round. We had the 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day, 4-0 against Chelsea on the opening day of the Premier League season. So we have had some big wins under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But I'm still very sceptical that he is the long-term future for Manchester United. But, you know, so these are some of the stuff, you know, that have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Manchester United. But like I've said to you before, there's a lot of things I do credit Solskjaer for. You know, there's some positives you can take from his tenure so far. You know, he's recruited 5 good players into the squad. He spent around £220 million. Last summer, Solskjaer recommended Daniel James in. Obviously, you know, I think Daniel James has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Very, very good player is Daniel James. And obviously, you know, there has been talk saying that Daniel James could possibly be loaned out if we sign Jadon Sancho when the transfer market reopens. But James Cooper's totally disregarded that. He doesn't think Man United will loan Daniel James out. Very, very good player. Bissaka, he came in last summer. He's also done very, very well. His defensive contribution's always been good. Before the football season, that got suspended. We started to see the attacking side of Wan Bissaka's game, which is good. And he's regarded as one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. Also to Harry Mcguire, we got him in last summer for £80 million. He's the second most expensive signing of the club, and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world. He's done very, very well as Harry Mcguire. I think the club did make the right decision, giving him the captaincy We give him the captaincy, reflection on Ashley Young's departure, because he joined Inter Milan this year after he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United. And of course, in January, he brought Bruno Fernandez in and Odion Ighalo in. So they're the 5 players he has recruited in so far. 4 permanent signings, 1 player on loan. Odion Ighalo is the one on loan. It remains uncertain at the moment, if we are going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. Because it did say quite a few weeks ago that Odion Ighalo revealed that he has not yet received an offer to extend his stay at Manchester United. I think he's keen on, remaining loyal to the football club, and he wants us to get him on a permanent basis. It will cost us around £15 million to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent basis, but that is a cheap solution. If Odion Ighalo had been like 4 or 5 years younger, then maybe it'd cost quite a bit more than £15 million. But Ighalo's enjoyed a good start to his Man United career. He's got 4 goals in his last 3 starts, I think that is. And he's a very, very good cover-up to Marcus Rashford, is Odion Ighalo. I think he's also got to take a £200,000 pay cut, for us to make his deal permanent. At the moment, we're paying like a third of his wages, because his wages at Shanghai Shenhua are like £300,000 and we're paying him £100,000. Said, was it right 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Shanghai Shenhua were willing to offer him 400 grand a week plus a 2-year contract extension to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. So yeah, reiterate what I said earlier. I credit Sosljaker for the players that he has brought in so far. Also, too, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood, since he has come in as well, which is very, very good. We have seen a total of 9 players leave Manchester United since Sosljaker came in. Like I mentioned, we saw Ashley Young leave this year after he endured 8.5 years at the club. We also saw Marcus Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. I think we're probably going to negotiate on getting rid of Rojo on a permanent transfer. Also, too, we got rid of Chris Smalling. He went last summer. He went to Roma on loan, and he's obviously been a revelation so far in Italy. Reports came out the other week saying that Roma may not be able to get Chris Smalling permanently due to the financial difficulty. But I don't think he'll come back to Man United. But Smalling did enjoy 9 years at the football club, so again, very long-serving player. Also, too, Darmian left last summer. He went on a permanent transfer to Parma. Herrera left last summer after he enjoyed 5 years at Manchester United. We obviously, we haven't yet got that adequate replacement for Ander Herrera. It infuriated me that we let him go on a free transfer. Marouane Fellaini, of course, left the football club. He was the first player to leave under the Solskjaer era. He went to China back in January 2019, did Marouane Fellaini, after he enjoyed 6 years at the football club. And obviously, Lukaku left last summer. He went to Inter Milan. And of course, Alexis Sanchez went out on loan to Inter Milan. We've got Dean Henson out on loan at Sheffield United, but he's expected to come back to Man United after his loan spell with Sheffield United and that. And like I said to you yesterday, who should be Man United's number 1 goalkeeper? Should it be De Gea or should it be Dean Henderson? It is debatable. Should we keep David De Gea as our number 1 or should Dean Henderson become our number 1? And of course, Valencia left last summer as well after he endured 10 years at Manchester United. So I've got to credit him for that. And I think Solskjaer is planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players, when the transfer market does reopen. And I think we're hopeful that we can raise around £100 million on, the players that we do get rid of when the transfer market does reopen. Also, you can maybe say this as well. This could have obviously, played a part in Solskjaer remaining at the club, with the way that he's promoted the youth. We have got a good reputation of promoting the youth and that, because the young players have been given their opportunities this season. Like I mentioned, Mason Greenwood, he's been given his opportunities this season, which is very, very good to see. Greenwood can play as a number 9 and he can also play on the right-hand side. He's a backup at the moment, but I think Mason Greenwood, in the next year or so, will develop he'll develop more and he'll emulate into Marcus Rashford's level. Probably will end up overtaking Marcus Rashford. I expect next season for Mason Greenwood to get more starts in the Premier League. I really, really do. But got to give him a lot of credit because this is his first full season in the senior squad. Williams has been given his chances this season. I've got to make an admission. Brandon Williams has been a revelation for us. Like I said to you this morning, who do you think should be our first choice left back, Luke Shaw or Brandon Williams? But I'm glad Brandon Williams has been given his opportunities. Also, Tuan Zebe, he was good earlier on in the season. Obviously, James Garner, I expect him to get more opportunities going on into next season because he's seldom played this season. Angel Gomes, there has been a lot of uncertainty over his future. Angel Gomes, of course. Angel Gomes has only played, is it like 10 times is it for the football club, and 6 of those appearances have come this season. I think, want to try and get Angel Gomes to a new contract. But I think once we resolve this future, and if he signs a new contract, then Gomes will get given his opportunities. Chong, I expect him to get more opportunities going on into next season. So we've got the youngest squad, I think, in the Premier League this season. So that's just something I want to put into the equation. But like I mentioned, when the football season does eventually resume, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will be under pressure to keep this good run of form up, because before the football season got suspended, he was in a good vein of form, like I said, and we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. And like I've mentioned, a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved. This was before the football season got suspended. We created more chances, we scored more goals. Our football looks more expansive, and that, is very, very good to see. But I'll stick to what I said on my recent videos. I want us to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least another season at the football club, because it is a transition period. And like Solskjaer revealed at the beginning of the year, he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. And Solskjaer knows if he's given another season at the club, that he's got many expectations to exceed. But, he needs to be given at least another season at Manchester United, and at least a couple of more transfer windows. He has been at Manchester United now for around 16 months. So he has been here over the year. And I think he's been permanent Manchester United manager now for almost 13 months as Solskjaer. But I liked what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, a couple of weeks ago, like he updated you, because Solskjaer did say that we will exploit the transfer market, when the transfer market does reopen. So Solskjaer believes, we can get the right players in when the transfer market reopens. And Solskjaer said, he wants to make around 4 signings when the transfer market reopens, because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. I want us to win the league within the next 2 to 3 years, or next season if possible, because we haven't won the league since 2013. The last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. The last time we won the Premier League. Of course, we are the most successful team in England, because we've won 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world, despite the fact that we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years or so. Solskjaer wants to make 4 signings. Solskjaer, wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United, like he did do last summer. And he's already identified the areas, where he does want to strengthen up. So it is good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making plans already for when the transfer market reopens. Obviously, he's got the backing of Ed Woodward, and he's also got the backing of the Glazers. And I think we've improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. I really, really do. What I mean is, I think we've been a bit more sensible with our recruitment. Obviously, in recent years, we've been criticised, for overpaying for players. Like I said, we paid 75 million for Lukaku, 89 million for Paul Pogba, 80 million for Mcguire, 50 million pounds for Fred, 40 million pounds for Nemanja Matic. So we are known for overpaying for players. But our recruitment policy has been poor in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But yeah. And like I mentioned, I've criticised Solskjaer throughout the course of this season, when he has deserved to be criticised. But there hasn't only been problems with the management throughout the course of this season, like I've said before. There's obviously, been a hell of a lot of problems with Ed Woodward. Man United have been critical of Ed Woodward for several years. We've also, criticised, the Glazers a lot. We've had a lot of doubts about the club's ownership. You've had Woodward that's been here since 2012. So he's been a good 8 years. You've had the Glazers that have been here since 2005-06. And they've taken, I think, over £1 billion out of the club, since the Glazers, got recommended in to Manchester United. Obviously, you know, the players were underperforming, of course, earlier on in the season as well, so some of the blame does stem from them. But there you go. But Solskjaer is our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, you know, I don't think Solskjaer will replicate Ferguson's legacy, because we won 38 trophies under Alex Ferguson. But there again, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. But look what he went and accomplished after not winning out in his first 4 years. You know, Ferguson enjoyed 20 odd years of success at Man United. I think he was at Man United for 26, 27 years or so. But since he left, we have been playing catch up. You know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. The managers we sacked was obviously, you know, Moyes. He enjoyed 9 months, was it, with Manchester United. Obviously, you know, he enjoyed a very, very short tenure. By the way, yesterday, it was exactly 6 years ago when David Moyes was sacked as Manchester United manager. He was sacked on April the 22nd, 2014. I think his last game in charge was the 2-0 defeat to Everton and that. But, you know, Moyes was just an absolutely terrible manager. He's probably the worst manager, or one of the worst managers that Manchester United have had. Probably, you know, as bad as, you know, probably as bad as Wolf McGuinness, to be quite honest with you, was David Moyes. Obviously, you know, Ferguson was at the fault for ever recommending him in. The main explanation why Ferguson recommended him in is because they was both Scottish and that. But we knew he was never going to succeed at Man United. And obviously, you know, under Moyes, we didn't win anything. We finished 7th in the league under Moyes. Obviously, you know, we got knocked out of the FA Cup by Swansea, knocked out of the League Cup by Sunderland. You know, didn't win anything in terms of silverware, so it was very, very bad under Moyes. We had 3-0 home defeats to City and Liverpool and that. But yeah, obviously we knew it was never going to work out. Now Moyes is at West Ham. Moyes has had 2 spells at West Ham. He got sacked from Sunderland. He got sacked from Real Sociedad. So he's got a really, really bad, you know, reputation as David Moyes. Really, really has. After Moyes left, you know, Van Gaal came in. Again, didn't work out under him. Van Gaal enjoyed 2 years at Manchester United, won the FA Cup, but his philosophy wasn't right for the club. Then after Van Gaal, Mourinho came in. Mourinho enjoyed 2.5 years at Manchester United. Of course, won 2 trophies in his first season, the Europa League and the League Cup. And got 2nd place in his first season. I think that's the highest we've finished in League 2nd, you know, in the last... Since the Ferguson era, it's the highest we've finished. But I've already given you the main explanations why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. Is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in and stuff like that. So this is why it didn't work out under Mourinho and stuff like that. But yeah, so we just need to bide as time with Solskjaer. So now that's everything to update you with on that. So now let's delve into the news on Paul Pogba. So the news now on Paul Pogba is that Real Madrid have reportedly dropped their interest in Paul Pogba. They are no longer interested in Paul Pogba at Real Madrid because they've turned their attentions on alternative midfielders. Now, so this means now Paul Pogba could stay at Manchester United at least for another season. Now, like I updated you yesterday, there was reports coming out saying that Man United have not triggered that 1-year extension on Paul Pogba's contract. So now that means in that aspect, Paul Pogba's only got 1 year now remaining on his current contract at the football club. Now, Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with Paul Pogba. You know, revert back to last summer, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with him. You know, I think Real Madrid last summer, if I'm right, they offered James Rodriguez plus £40 million for Paul Pogba, but that wasn't enough, because we said we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba. This is how much we wanted. So he was demanding just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus, because we paid £89 million for Pogba from Juventus. So at the moment, he is our most expensive signing. But Real Madrid were not willing to meet that £180 million valuation. And like I said, last year, Paul Pogba was talking a lot about Real Madrid, about his dreams of playing under Zinedine Zidane and that. And his preference was a move to Real Madrid last summer. And Paul Pogba made an admission last summer saying that he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge, and even publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club. But, you know, he still remains at Manchester United. But I think, you know, Pogba's got a good relationship with Zinedine Zidane. Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, you know, he's got a good relation with Real Madrid. Mini Raiola, Pogba's agent's been talking a lot since the turn of the year, saying he wants to take a great footballer to Real Madrid. Also, too, you know, Man United have been very, very critical of him, reflecting on some of the comments he has said, you know, Mini Raiola. Obviously, you know, he's been working on getting his client a transfer away from Man United completed, at least in the last couple of years or something like that. I think Ed Woodward's had some negotiations with Mini Raiola, you know, to try and resolve Paul Pogba's future, because he has been a lot of uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future and that. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid, you know, looking to get more players in, despite the fact that they got around 5 or 6 players in last summer. They're also looking at offload players as well, such as James Rodriguez, Bale, Karim Benzema's coming to an end of his career. You know, Dani Ceballos are looking to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. But they've obviously got other midfielders on their agenda, Real Madrid. So now reportedly they're no longer in for Paul Pogba, due to, you know, financial difficulties in that, because a lot of teams are under financial pressure across the world due to the coronavirus crisis. If we was to sell Paul Pogba when the transfer market reopens, we could only get around £70 million for him. So we probably won't get more than what we paid for him. And I said if we were to sell Pogba, it's very imperative that we get more than what we paid for the player and stuff like that. Don't forget, you know, Paul Pogba, you know, did an interview to the United podcast the other week. And he said quite a few interesting stuff. Obviously, you know, he responded to the criticism that he's received from Graham Souness, because Graham Souness has been criticising him persistently. Also, he was talking about, you know, what convinced him to leave Manchester United for Juventus back in 2012, and it was his mother and his brother, because he was talking a lot with his mother and his brother and stuff like that. And Matthias, his brother, has obviously, you know, said persistently, you know, that Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United. But, you know, we did have Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger, under the Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go. And the main explanation why we had to let him go was due to limited appearances, you know. So this is why we let him go on a free transfer to Juventus. And obviously, you know, there has been talks about Paul Pogba making a return back to Juventus, because, like I've said before, Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, but the vast majority of his performances at Man United since he rejoined have been totally comparison to his ones in Turin. I've got to make that admission. Also, too, PSG and Barcelona have been in for him in the past. PSG would be able to afford Pogba if they could, like, offload Mbappe or Neymar, who are the 2 most expensive players in the world. But since Paul Pogba rejoined, he's had a long-running transfer saga, you know, let's be honest. Also, to endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. He's only played 8 times this season for Man United as Paul Pogba due to his injuries. I think he had the surgery on his ankle back in January, did Paul Pogba. But yeah, the good news is, you know, he has been stepping up his fitness regime, and then when the season does eventually resume, if it does, Pogba will be back in full training. The Spanish expert also recently confirmed he thinks Pogba will stay, because he thinks, you know, Paul Pogba, you know, will sign a new long-term contract and commit his long-term future at the football club. But yeah, so United fans, you know, have got different perceptions on Pogba. Some United fans would keep him, and some United fans, you know, would let him go. So, you know, that's the latest news on Paul Pogba. So reportedly now Real Madrid are no longer in for him. It mentions that Inter Milan as well, you know, could express their interest in Pogba. So last topic now on this video, then I am going to finish, you know, this video. So I've just been reading recent reports, and it does say that the Premier League have got a back plan to end the season by the 31st of July. After, you know, the Premier League, you know, came to an agreement with UEFA president, whatever his name is, the UEFA president, but yeah, the Premier League come to an agreement, you know, with UEFA on this. So this means if this is to happen, that, you know, Champions League and Europa League games will be played in August. And I think it also means as well that Premier League games could be or will be aired free on television. So this is, you know, what has been confirmed. Now, some people believe that the season will eventually resume, and obviously, you know, it will be played behind closed doors due to public health reasons. And some people believe that the season should be void. This is what some people believe. The season should be void. And obviously, if the season was to be void, then, I think Liverpool would get the title, because they can't deny Liverpool the title. Maybe the teams in the relegation zone won't get relegated. I said, didn't I, if the season was to be void, it would be interesting to see how it would implicate the leagues and stuff like that. Obviously, you had recently Mesut Ozil refusing to take a pay cut on his wages, which I think is an absolute disgrace. Obviously, I think a lot of Arsenal fans would have said that's an absolute disgrace, because I think players' wages have been cut by around 30%. They've been cut by around 30% and stuff like that. But I don't know if the season's going to resume. I really, really don't know. Obviously, the football's been suspended since the 9th of March, so it's been suspended now over a month. Obviously, the Premier League had a meeting last Friday to establish plans for the remainder of the season. Before this meeting, there was talks of the season resuming on the 6th of June, and the Premier League was saying they wanted it to come to a conclusion by the 30th of June. But in the recent meeting, there was no talks of the season finishing on the 30th of June. There was no debate on the issues of the pay cuts or the transfer windows, and stuff like that. So I think it remains unknown when the season's going to resume. It recently said that the season could start on 8th of June. And, it could be completed within a 5-week period and stuff like that. As you all know, UEFA are planning to play the Champions League final on August the 29th, is it, if I'm right? Yeah. Don't forget, UEFA came out yesterday and they said that Man United and Arsenal could get qualification for the Champions League for next season. If the season, doesn't resume. So that would mean Chelsea, Leicester, Tottenham, Wolves, Sheffield and that, would all have to go into the Europa League. So obviously, that wouldn't be, really, really fair, would it? But yeah, so reportedly, the Premier League are backing a plan to get the season completed by the 31st of July, so Champions League and Europa League games can be played in August. But I do believe the Premier League will have at least another meeting or two, to try and work things out and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of players' contracts are due to expire on the 30th of June as well, don't forget. Of course, as you all know, Liverpool and that are changing their sponsors. But yeah, and I think there's around 92, nearly 100 games to be played in all competitions. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.